Carmen Chanta's daughter is also on Chris Fenn's ministerial payroll. Musicians and sports bodies speak out over COVID-19 requirements. Inclusion Minister condemns imam's controversial LGBTIQ+ comments. All this and more on Lovin Daily. Good evening and welcome to another edition of Lovin Daily. I'm Diacono, joined today by Grech Urpani. And one of the big stories of the day concerns Carmen Chantar, Chief of Staff and Close Advisor of Health Minister Chris Fenn. What can you tell us about it, David?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. So we start with the first story, as Tim said, pretty much confirming that it could very well be all in the family at Chris Fenn's ministry. This is a new report by the Shift News today, which is saying that Carmen Chantar's daughter has also landed a position on a critical government board. Let me take you back a little bit to, 10 days ago, when one of the closest allies of Deputy Prime Minister Chris Fenn and his Chief of Staff, Carmen Chantar, came under fire over a contract as Foundation of Medical Services CEO, which reportedly was bagging her a contract of €163,000. For context, her predecessor Brian St. John had roughly half that amount as a salary, which probably is why the National Audit Office described it as irregular. Let's be forget, she also earns an extra government pay while serving on the Malta Gaming Authority's Board of Governors. That was 10 days ago. Today, the Shift News are reporting that Carmen's daughter, Celine Camilleri Chantar, is actually serving on the Treatment Abroad Committee. This is basically the committee which decides which patients require medical treatment or serious intervention outside of Malta. Celine graduated as a dentist 2 years ago, so pretty good gig. And of course, this time it's actually not clear yet what kind of remuneration Celine receives from being on the committee, but needless to say, this whole saga, which back a couple of days ago, as far as her mother was concerned, even Labour Party figures like one chairman, Jason McAuliffe, was describing it as embarrassing for the entire country. The saga keeps getting more and more convoluted and quite frankly, borderline incestuous, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And while the people close to Chris Fenn are living it up, a lot of people are still suffering as a result of measures that he has introduced, talking about the COVID-19 measures. Obviously, Chris Fenn announced that some restrictions related to the controversial vaccine passports are going to be eased as of 7 February, but not for everywhere. So it's only going to be for restaurants, snack bars, casini, and then later on for bars, gyms and pools. And sports bodies, including the Malta Football Association, the Basketball Association, Rugby Association, Malta Olympic Committee, are all questioning why sports events still require everyone to be adequately vaccinated, which in Maltese terms means first dose or first 2 doses within the past 3 months or a booster within the past 9 months. And MFA is describing it as a slap in the face. Many are asking, why can you be allowed, why can an unvaccinated person go into a restaurant or into a bar and get drunk at a bar but then can't keep fit by playing sports? I would like to see the science behind that. From experience, I highly doubt it's going to be published. It's not only sports, also musicians. Ira Lasko speaking out about the issue of events. And that's always going to happen, right? When you're going to start cherry-picking sectors of society and saying, these rules apply to you, and it's not the first time, and not to you, and it's not the first time we've seen it during the pandemic, and I expect more U-turns in the coming weeks, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, U-turns has been kind of the order of the day for, I think, approaching half a decade of COVID. I'm soon going to start saying. Look, we are increasingly boosting more and more people, so technically that should be all the proof or all the reason for us to slowly start, or not so slowly, reopen as many places as possible. So, you're welcome. But look, myself as a musician and a party organizer, I can't wait, for as many measures as possible to be lifted. I think the entertainment industry has had to suffer quite a lot for obvious but also not so obvious reasons sometimes. So I can't wait, to start doing what I love doing and also earn some money. Maybe not as much as some of Chris Fern's allies, but at the same time, as you said, Tim, I'm also, I'm not sure it's going to take too long anyway at this rate with all these U-turns in the way. So hopefully by the time that this airs and someone rewatches it in a couple of days' time, this will be outdated and we'll be talking about parties, fingers crossed. But in the meantime, as for, unfortunately, another tangible and even more worrying example of inclusion or lack of it, Inclusion Minister Giulia Portelli has condemned what have now become very controversial comments made by Malta's Imam El Sadi. Basically, the Imam was interviewed earlier this week, and while explaining some of the intricacies and philosophies of the Islam faith, he also urged gay men to marry women and follow what he called the righteous path. And, he said things like, God cannot create you with this urge. He condemns it. These relationships are prohibited. He also, gave a little bit of a nod to other religions that also condemn it, quite frankly, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. He said in many religions, these are prohibited. So how can God, create people like this, then condemn them? It cannot be. His rhetoric was condemned, of course, itself, seen as very outdated. The Equality Minister Owen Bonnici posted about it, saying being gay is not a choice. And of course, the subject of this headline, Inclusion Minister Giulia Portelli, who told Lovin Malta there's no room for such philosophy of resisting the inclination and marrying a woman instead. In 2022, this is, after all, the country that has consistently ranked top in the LGBTIQ plus ranking, I think for 6 years running now. Unfortunately, the second step, which was the step I was mostly interested in, quite frankly, when asked as to whether she would report the Imam to police for hate speech. After all, we've just seen it happen the exact same way she had done with Father David Muscat, who, let's remind everyone, actually said that being gay was worse than being possessed by demons. She did not respond. So I think it's good on Fergie Portelli's part that she's speaking out. These philosophies, no matter where they come from, if they are related to a religion or not, do not really have room in a civilized society in the 21st century. But at the same time, it's interesting to see how it develops. Are we going to see a case of like some religions being more equal than others, or are we just going to give everyone the same treatment?
Well, to be honest, again, there's a difference I feel between condemning the comments and even saying whether the police should take action or not versus whether a government minister should report citizens to the police. I find that quite worrying. No matter what it is, it could be very well interpreted as using or abusing your power to pressure the institutions to take action. Not a regular person, you're literally helping to run the country. So I'm glad to see Minister Farrugia Portelli not report the Imam to the police. Moving on, Republica President Robert Aquilina has confirmed he was present in Burmarad outside former Prime Minister Joseph Muscat's home last week, very shortly after his home was searched by police in connection with a corruption inquiry. He spoke to Lovin Malta. We contacted him after Labour Whip Glenn Bedingfield delivered a scathing speech in Parliament yesterday, in which he named Robert Aquilina. He said it wasn't just the Times of Malta who were present at the site while the police came to search Muscat's home, but Robert Aquilina was there himself. We spoke to him. He confirmed, yes, I was there, but I wasn't there from 7 a.m., which is when the police arrived. I had the press conference at 9:30 a.m. about something unrelated. Afterwards, I went for a coffee. Someone informed me, and obviously, I went to make sure that as was true, and I just watched from afar. By that time, the search had concluded, although the police and the Times journalists were still were still around. He was sort of informed after the raid, but before it was known to the general public because the news was published at around 4 p.m. By the Times of Malta later on that afternoon. Glenn Bedingfield's speech has caused quite a political controversy. He was the first a Labour MP to really stick his neck out for Joseph Muscat after the search. He was going on against the institution, saying, how dare they have even looked through his children's school bags. It's to be honest, it does sound quite ridiculous, like police searching through just school bags of kids. But then again, it's their job, and I'm sure at least I hope they know what they're doing, and other considerations should be sidelined for it. And also worrying is the way this constant victim mentality keeps coming up. I mean, there's literally the people in government running the country, and they're acting like the anti-establishmentarians, like they're not. You're the establishment, and you're there like calling out underlings who as soon as they even challenge a bit of authority, which is not on, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, I find it very interesting to see the twist itself. I mean, I thought we were meant to leave institutions working, but sadly or weirdly or surprisingly, now we've had this M. Night Shyamalan twist where the institutions are not working or they're abusing their powers. These are going to keep on being, examples of rhetoric that will only keep on intensifying. We've seen it before, a rumored election might be just around the corner or not, but even if it isn't, these things are going to keep on intensifying. And I'm sure that there will be a number of politicians and a number of citizens who will find any reason to correlate this or collaborate this with any sort of either grand conspiracy of big media or big establishments or all of that, or even connected to an election. In fact, even something as much of as a papal visit got the election treatment this week, actually last night and earlier this morning, when reports have seemingly confirmed Pope Francis' visit to Malta. The current report is that the confirmation of the visit is for the 2nd and the 3rd of April. The reports have also said that Prime Minister Robert Abela and President George Vella both agreed to the dates that were proposed by the Vatican. This visit has been a long time coming, so if you've had your favorite festival from 2020 postponed, this is pretty much that, because it was meant to be originally in May 2020, then it was postponed due to the COVID pandemic, then pushed to December 2021, then pushed again. So it is coming. It is rumored to be the April 2nd and 3rd of April. And it seemed to have interested everyone, even people who aren't usually interested in papal visits, because it has re-sparked the rumours that the date of a general election could actually be closer than we think. This current swelling of maybe it's March has been seemingly confirmed by a papal visit, which hasn't even been confirmed itself. Classic Maltese rumours.
I mean, the reason behind this rumor is because there were, as far as I know, recent reports, I think in December, that the Pope was concerned that he didn't want his visit to Malta to clash with the election. So it's either in March. If not in March, it must be after April, so probably May or June. But anyway, there's been many rumors. What we do know is that there will be an election held before by June of this year. And that's it from us today. Make sure you follow lovinmalta.com from all the latest happenings, and have an evening full of lovin'.